It's that time of year. The season of goodwill. We are told it's a sellout here at Allianz Park. Maybe the weather has stopped one or two driving up to the ground itself. It has been a really grim afternoon, but thankfully the artificial surface will avoid the slugfest in the mud. Saracens well versed here. 14 times they've played, they've lost just the once here at Allianz Park. That was against Northampton, of course, in the Premiership playoff semi-final. Ryan Lamb in at 10 today, with the news confirmed by Richard Cockerell that Toby Flood is on his way to France. That surely will trigger a debate about who arrives at Welford Road. Number 10 merry-go-round. There's Wayne Barnes, he's in charge today. Marked his visit here at the start of the season with a red card for Nick Wood after less than 2 minutes of the Gloucester fixture.
Okay, time you're up, fellas.
Owen Farrell sends it long.
Hold forward.
First touch of the ball for Ben Youngs. And the two Youngs brothers have been in sparkling form recently. Taken quickly by Saracens, keen to inject urgency into proceedings. Farrell getting those one-off runners into the game. We're going to see a lot of that today. Slippery conditions, and it's gone loose, and that's Matera, who's seen a lot of space in behind Jack Wilson, who drops on it. Clever play from the Argentinian flanker to see all that greenery back there. And Wigglesworth does exactly as he has to do.
Yeah, just a bit of miscontrol there at the breakdown for Saracens. The ball just spilled over on the Leicester side.
Nice big gaps.
Bright start from Vunipola, looking to attack
okay.
down the right-hand side.
Let's go, please, fellas. Who's in?
Leicester
Let's come in then, please, Leicester.
have never played on this artificial surface. They haven't trained on it either prior to this match. Richard Cockerell trying to make sure that it doesn't become a factor in their heads. Just keen they go out and do exactly as they would on a normal pitch. Morris does that on a normal pitch. Nice footwork.
Tackle only, tackle only. Number 10, obstruction.
First penalty goes the way of the Tigers.
Player, number 10.
Penalty goes against Owen Farrell there. Came out the blocks very quickly and just stayed around after the tackle.
Okay, get rid of them.
Wayne Barnes just penalised him for obstructing the player from clearing out. So
the wind firmly against the Tigers in this opening half, as Ryan Lamb has just discovered. Not the greatest of distance on the clearance kick.
Chicken and egg, mate.
just see Owen Farrell there just staying in while Kitchener comes in to clear him out.
Yeah, I'll give you time. Who's in, please? You've got two half-backs, Captain.
Fascinating battle in this line-out. You see Steve Borthwick putting as much pressure as possible on the Leicester line-out, and Graham Kitchener's calling.
Neil Briggs finds Ed Slater. Tom Young's on the bench today. Briggs, a man who's been in and around the Premiership for some time, had a spell with Bourgois as well, long time at Sale. Youngs breaks away, looks for Morris on the inside.
He's digging it out, it's okay.
Just approaching the Saracens 22. And Mickey Gonover, who's been in prolific form. 5 tries in the last 9 games in Leicester colours. Slotted in nicely in place of Manu Tuilangi. Lamb. Low trajectory, which in these conditions has to be a good policy. Austin
Yeah, just watching the very first few rucks, it's evident this is Leicester's first time on this field. You watch this is the first ruck, none of the Leicester players go on the floor. Second ruck, Matt Smith, very abrasive tackler, gets in the tackle, and then you'd think, right, they'd get over that ball. Again, they stay on their feet. It's just getting used, Lawrence, to playing on this field. You're not used to it as a Leicester player. You've never been here before. And it probably takes you 20-30 minutes to actually believe that it's soft enough to dive hard first.
Yeah, very much so, and that's obviously the forwards just sort of getting a feel of that playing surface, but also for the kickers, you know, particularly, you know, Ben Youngs, and obviously fly half and fullback, just getting the feel for the, you know, the dimensions, the wind, the playing surface. And I remember having played at Loftus Road, you know, for the first time that teams came to play there, it was always a bit awkward, and you always felt like you had the upper hand.
Bath taking an early lead against Harlequins. Couple of penalties for George Ford, and a similar lead for the Chiefs over the Falcons at Sandy Park. Steenson with a couple. Christian Day has scored for Northampton away at Wasps, whose 3 points come from the boot of Elliot Daly. Those are all 3 o'clock kickoffs, by the way, a little bit earlier than our start here at Allianz Park. There's Neil Briggs.
Leicester, use the line, please. And
that's Jamie George.
Leicester all on the line. Sarries up a little.
There's another of those who really excelled in the recent European contest against Montpellier. Rotating as ever with Scott Brits. Wigglesworth with the wind. Here's Matt Tate. Good to see him back after more trouble with injury. It's been spilt, but backwards quite good, and Wigglesworth is away. Just a tiny slice of an opening for Richard Wigglesworth, and he was through. Slippery ball. Ashton searching for it. In and around the ruck. Farrell goes wide for Joubert. Billy Vunipola into Jordan Crane, a meeting of the back rowers. Borthwick gets it away well. Nice handling from Ashton. This is good from Saracens, and this is good. And racing through is Wilson. He stretches out. A prolific scorer. He had a lot to do. Jack Wilson strikes for Sarries.
Yeah, wonderful movement there from Saracens. Really started with that attack. Wigglesworth probing, the right-hand touch line continually going back to that blind side, and then when it was on to move it, they were able to just keep the ball alive. I think it was a ruck in midfield which just managed to keep it alive, as we see Good just juggling it, well picked up by Wigglesworth, and once he breaks free, he just throws that long pass out, and that's when the attack really starts to move. But just the speed of the rucks from Saracens. Just here, they're able to take the ball. I think it's Borthwick there that keeps it alive. And after that, it's a foot race, but still a huge amount to do. Just manages to tuck inside and reach out for the line. Great score from Sarries.
It's a great offload from Borthwick, and then a nice pass from Ashton, but then stepping in on the outside by Niall Morris creates the space. It's a really good attempt to stop it. As you said, Lawrence, an excellent finish overall.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing, obviously normally on a muddy pitch with the conditions, you might be able to slide and make a tackle. In this situation, you know, it favours the team that are able to step in off the wing.
He loves it, this surface. Owen Farrell, week in, week out. Practicing hard, honing that routine, and it's paid dividends.
Just see the offload there from Steve Borthwick. And just look here, just there. Normally, you know, you're able to slide in maybe the water, and the greasy surface would have taken the player into touch.
4 tries in as many games for Jack Wilson now, filling in the Kiwi for Dave Strattle as Billy Vunipola spills the ball, and it's pounced upon. Tigers would like to strike immediately.
Advantage over from the knock-on.
Crane into Stevens, still the preferred option at tight head, with James Johnston lying in wait on the bench. Rubber kick from Lamb has ended up in Saracens' arms. And relief from the scrum half. Fabulous touch finder too.
Yeah, very good. And Vunipola just losing the flight of the ball there in the air, as we see. He's trying to take it above his head, which is always a little bit risky in these conditions. Better suited just to catching it in the breadbasket, but he's able to clear through Richard Wigglesworth.
Just be careful of dummy jumping.
That's some
you
basket.
can't dummy jump. You can move, you can't dummy jump.
He's had a stellar season, Billy Vunipola, coming along very nicely indeed. We have to keep reminding ourselves that he is still only 21. He turned 21 last month. Excellent for England in November. Leicester looking to find Benjamin, another of those who's had a long time out with injury. Scored a couple of absolute crackers in the opening game against Montpellier. Turnover ball here for Saracens, and Ashton is away. Good tackle from Gibson in the end. He's gone forwards. Lamb.
Hold back feet. Advantage over from the knock-on.
Wilson. Is that a deliberate slap down? No. Wayne Barnes is happy to let play continue.
Advantage over from the knock-on.
Away goes Strella looking to find Wiles.
Offside. The result of the man who last played the ball to offside.
More points on offer for the home side.
Yeah, Saracens just look a little bit sharper, don't they? They're able to turn the ball over, always looking to move it on, as Owen Farrell just forces the knock-on by Niall Morris. Not ruled deliberate.
Man who played the ball,
Saracens have now got the opportunity to increase the lead with the penalty shot.
It's hard to be deliberate when you got your eyes closed.
Nice little burst there as well from Tim Stredder after the ball went to ground from Morris, but this is a relatively easy one for Farrell. It's a fair tally in home games, 80 for the season
Just be careful of that back
in the Premiership so far.
one up there. I know it came away straight away, but it's okay, it's okay. Watch stop, just stop the watch, please. Say again, mate. What for the kick?
Tees
60
just
seconds.
generally a little bit
Wind the tees on
higher
now.
off the artificial
Watch it
surface.
back on, thank you.
With a little bit of help from Kelly Brown. Saracens into double figures after just 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's been a bright start, hasn't it, from Saracens. They could really feel they've got the home crowd behind them. They're really up for this game against Leicester. Richard Cockrell was just talking to him before the start of the game. He said that people might look at our selection and think we're not up for this game. We are very much up for this game, and coming down here with a side that are capable of winning, but it's Saracens that have really come out the blocks first.
Full of intent, and with the wind behind them as the rain lashes sideways. Vunipola making no mistake that time, and look how much ground he's made. Heavy traffic doesn't seem to make a whole heap of difference. Tate had 40 minutes on loan with Nottingham last week against Sterling.
Okay, 2 knock-ons, fellas. Take the first one.
And it's scrum time. There's a man who finished the season so well, the back end into April and May last season.
Well, he's not under much pressure really because of Leicester's kick chase. We'll come to it in a minute with a few examples, but that's the first time that they really had somebody chasing the ball, but they're isolating the ball, and Saracens are moving it away very well, which means it's very easy to gain width for Saracens.
Bind! Set! Yes, 9!
First scrummage of the game. Looks like it might have been taken against the head by Sarries, and off goes Vunipola. Rare loose pass. Farrell takes the pragmatic option. A superb option.
Absolutely great kick. Worrying signs for Leicester there. Just got the timing a bit wrong at that scrum. Just went against the head. We don't see that very often as we see the ball. Let's just have a look at this. What it goes down is the arm of of the Leicester prop that just stops the ball from coming in, and Saracens are able to profit.
What a great kick as well from Farrell. That's really utilising the wet surface, getting your weight behind the ball and skidding it through on its first bounce. You don't get that sort of bounce here when it's dry on this surface. It pops up in the air.
His dad would have called that 40-20, wouldn't he, back in the day?
Line-out ball is taken by Kitchener in the blue scrum cap. Another of those making excellent headway in the Leicester ranks, drawing the admiring attentions of England coaches. Penalty here to the Tigers.
I'm really impressed with Kitchener, you know, not just this season, but particularly at the start of this game, you know, coming up against Steve Borthwick, who is so experienced, particularly in the line-out, but Leicester have just gone about their business in the line-out. Kitchener making the calls, taking the catches, really taking that responsibility away from home.
Oz, what have you got?
Well, just to highlight what we were talking about before, the line-outs are going pretty well for Kitchener, as we've seen, but their kick chase for Leicester's terrible because they're isolating the ball carrier. Matt Smith's pretty much on his own here. He goes for the ball, he goes for Good, but he doesn't quite get there. Now, where's the width? Leicester have got no width outside them, and when the ball does come, the pass pulling it back, they get easy width from it, and they've got to get a better kick chase, otherwise they're going to be in trouble all game. Same's happened here. They've only got one guy forward, everyone else is hanging back.
Well, it's that one pass, isn't it, Austin, that takes away all the defence.
Ashton secure under that one.
Just hold. Yeah. Like that, please. Got it.
Flat kick chase this time from Saracens, who are applying a huge amount of pressure. And Lamb is chasing across, and you got the impression he wasn't entirely sure that was actually going to make it into touch.
Well, the impression he wasn't entirely sure what he was doing. He'd done really well to get across there, and then all he had to do was hoof it down the field. It's a technical term, that, Ali. Hoofing.
Yeah, I'm learning it.
But just the point you were making there, Austin, if you contrast that kick from Saracens, where they actually had a line of 4 defenders, really forcing Leicester to kick it out, and now have won that territory.
That's Joubert securing possession. He's been the line-out king for Sarries, top of the charts. Leicester have turned it over, knocked on by Sarries, and what can the Tigers do on the counter-attack? Good is across, and the ball is into touch.
Who's line, mate?
Just not the kind of shape you associate with the Tigers at the moment. They normally play with a good deal of structure and organisation.
They do, and you know, it'd be interesting to, you know, to understand how much the pitch is playing into that. I just noticed at the rucks that, you know, Ben Youngs is having to go in and dig for the ball, you know, and to sort of plant his foot before passing, as opposed to Saracens. Richard Wigglesworth, who's able to seemingly able to get that ball away nice and quickly, just affecting their rhythm. Leicester.
There's a little bit of justice done there, because I've no idea how that was a Saracens line out when Good touched the ball into touch. There's somebody watching. It's the referee's adjuster. He's up on high.
A bit like you.
Actually, this is only about 4 or 5 metres. Used to 10 at the minute.
5, 7.
And then the last Leicester scrum didn't go so well. Sarries with the early shove though, and they've been penalised. Crane into Brown, and Vunipola has done very well with some help from his mates. That's the 10-metre line there inside the Sarries half.
Ball is available.
Slater. Youngs looks right, swings it left. Matera, this young Argentine international, very talented, had a superb time of it in rarefied company in the recent Rugby Championship. Tate has Gibson out wide. Spilt by Kitchener. Decent press defence from Sarries has done the job. Yet again, the probing kick is asking all kinds of questions, and Ashton's right there on top of it. Might just gather it. Troubling moments for Leicester. Young's taking a breather, but that was a scrambled defence. Young's burrowing and hoofing it away. That's your turn. Wilson, the try scorer. Slippery, lovely feet from Wilson. Saracens again looking dangerous inside the 22, barging his way through his Hargreaves. Quickly recycled, they've got men out here. This should be number 2 for Saracens. Good cuts in field, the tackle is a good one. Farrell. Ashton into touch.
Just contrast the speed at which Saracens are able to play. You know, they're really taking the contact on their terms. Look at this as we go down. It's just the speed of the breakdown. When they eventually go to floor, when Wilson is eventually tackled, we'll see here. He's just able to get that ball away. They're planting the ball well, and Wigglesworth's on hand to move it. And again, Vunipola tries to get the ball away.
Just always looking to keep that ball alive, aren't they, Lawrence? And when you think back to last season, certainly the early part of last season, got a lot of criticism for the style of rugby that they were playing. It was effective, it was pragmatic, but the tries weren't flowing, and then it all seemed to come together. And this season they've been playing a lot more ambitious rugby.
Yeah, very much so. Just the speed that they're playing. At the moment, if you contrast the two sides, they're definitely just a little bit sharper of thought. You know, certainly looking to keep the ball alive as much as possible. And we've all watched Saracens over the last couple of seasons, have been a little bit critical, but you know, today they look really sharp, looking to keep the ball alive and looking to play with pace.
Second most tries in the Premiership. Saints leading away with 27. Sarries on 26 now. It's a free kick for Saracens, and they're taking it quickly. Just 2 metres away, searching for the opening. Stevens on the crash ball and some obstruction.
Main contact, overrun the player. You will find number 6 in front of the ball carrier.
Again, disappointing to give away a penalty. Just look at the dummy here, just goes once and twice. Wayne Barnes having none of that. Again, Saracens could have opted for a scrum or could have opted to, kick, but they're looking to keep the ball alive.
And another not entirely convincing clearance kick from Ryan Lamb, who knows all about it.
It's interesting, Ryan Lamb, because now that the news of Toby Flood moving to possibly France, bit of an onus on Ryan Lamb now. No decision has been made. I'm sure Richard Cockrell will be looking into the transfer market. Maybe Reece Priestland, maybe looking at Freddie Burns, but certainly Ryan Lamb's now got an opportunity.
Oz.
Well, just highlight what Lawrence was saying about this work rate and intensity of Leicester. Look, they've got 11 players there in a really small area. What that means is they've got to start working from the inside, otherwise it isolates the guys on the outside, and if they don't, this is what happens. Nobody gets around apart from Slater. Nobody works from that far side all the way around, and as the ball comes out, it's just a numbers game. And then you're absolutely in the whole world of playing defensively out wide, and Sarries keep doing it, and Leicester keep doing it defensively.
Kitchener with the line-out ball. Crane presenting it for Ben Youngs.
Use it! Winger okay, players are yours, Andy.
Into the wind, it's being held up, it's a very useful kick. Farrell had men out wide, but content to poke it downfield. That one's just a little bit too much.
Yeah, right idea from Owen Farrell, but just miscued that kick, and it's given Leicester a scrum back on the 10-metre line, which they'll be mightily relieved about.
I'll just push now, please.
Well, we saw the match last night from Sale playing in similar sort of conditions, although I believe the wind was a good deal stronger.
Yeah, man, it's difficult today. Jack Wilson, great take in the air. Does really well, not just to take it. Jack Wilson, I think it is, and then as he lands, he then steps forward. drives through the tackle. Really clever play. Gets his forwards behind him and able to ruck over him.
Just both. Let's just get you a bit closer.
Just looking at the packs, obviously, you know, both sides massively strong in the pack. But you look at the bench, you know, the likes of Tom Youngs, Marcus Ayerza, Jerome Schuster. Just look at Saracens, Scott Brits, Mako Vunipola and James Johnson. Huge packs there.
Crouch!
3 penalties from Andy Good has put Wasps in front against Northampton.
Go on then, fellas.
This is Andy Good's sort of day, isn't
You
it?
wanted time to balance. Let's get that balance.
You know, it's been an interesting up and down for Northampton, isn't it? They had
Come to the left,
that
please.
disappointing defeat
Nice big
at
shoulders,
Leicester in the
please.
European Cup, then bounced back magnificently, and be a fascinating contest there at Adams Park today.
So let's have a word with Leicester's Director of Rugby, Richard Cockrell. Richard, what's your take on the opening 20 minutes or so? Down on the scoreboard, not playing with the same kind of assurity we expect from your sides.
Massive factor for us, and it's we've got to carry into them and recycle. They're racing very hard in defence, and it's hard to get any rhythm at all. But look, it'll be a game of 2 halves, won't it, with this wind? And we've just got to keep the score within touching distance, because it's probably 15, 17, 20-point wind, isn't it?
You think it'd be that much? As much as 15 or 17?
Well, I think so, because if you get field position, you carry into the opposition with this wind behind you, it's very hard for the opposition to get out, because you kick the ball, you run it back, or you kick the ball out, and you have a set piece to them to run at you again. So we've just got to control the field position a little bit better and carry at them when we have the ball, and get a little bit more width in our defence when they have it.
What about the surface, Richard? Your first visit to Allianz Park, do you think that's played its part in the start that your side have had?
Oh, not really. We know it's going to be a fast track. To be fair, it's better than playing in a mud bath, isn't it? So look, I've got no complaints with the surface. It's different. It's not particularly my cup of tea, but it's no complaints from us.
Thanks, Richard.
Cheers, mate.
First chance of points here for the Tigers, for Lamb from 40 metres out. And against a fairly hefty wind. It's squeezed its way over, and that is an excellent kick from Ryan Lamb. The last couple of weekends he's come up with the goods against Montpellier, away in France, the last-minute conversion that gave them the win. And look at the bend on this.
That's an excellent kick, isn't it? Look where he started that out, miles outside the right-hand upright. Interested to listen to the words of Richard Cockrell there, saying that he thinks it's a 15 to 20-point win. I think one thing he won't be pleased about is the intensity that his team have played with in this first half, because often when you're playing into the wind, that's when you want to play with more intensity. That's when your forwards have really got to work, as Austin said, round the corner in defence and attack, and that's something I'm sure he'll be speaking to them about at half-time.
It's often quite good to pick a 15 and just keep the ball zigzag up the 15. You might make 5 metres, you might make no metres, but you wind down that clock and starve the opposition of possession.
Again, it's Joubert who secures it. Stopped in his tracks. No Jacques Berger for the time being, and likewise Wills Fraser, who's had a rotten time of it through injury, so the flanker resources depleted just a bit at the moment, although Berger's injury won't keep him out for long, we're told. Morris tries to keep it alive, and then it's spilt. Tough one to gather off the shoelaces.
Done all the hard work, Morris, hadn't he? Found a bit of a half gap, got to the ground, made it difficult for Kitchener.
Watch shot, fellas. He's right on top of the
Look at this. This is where Saracens have really, I think, got an edge. Vunipola behind the gain line, but just takes the ball, and it's just one of those meter makers that's able to just get his team from a standing start onto the front foot. That's something that England use him for. You know, it's not an easy job, that, when you're standing still, getting a pass from your scrum half, one out, no real danger. And the ball presentation wasn't the best, but you know, that's really where Saracens, I think, have just got the edge. They've got the big carriers that are able to get over the gain line.
A fair few of those Sarri's metres can be attributed to the big man, all 20.5 stone of him.
You okay, fellas? You good? Watch on then, lost forward by White, scrummage.
So lots more rugby for you across BT Sport through the Christmas and New Year period. Remember that tomorrow we're at Kingsholm for a battle at the bottom. Gloucester against Worcester from 1 o'clock on BT Sport 1. And Newcastle against London Wasps is our offering on Friday night, Friday the 27th from 7 o'clock again on BT Sport 1 from Kingston Park. Harlequins against the Exeter Chiefs is the big game at Twickenham on Saturday the 28th. The Saracens trying to burst through over that 10-metre line, but again cluttering the midfield, and Wilson thought he might have had a sniff.
Yeah, it's not a popular decision with the Saracens crowd, but he just blocks the runner there. Smith
He's in front of the ball,
in front of the ball, and he made contact with the man, as Wayne Barnes is very clearly explaining to Steve Borthwick.
Yeah, it's Chris Wiles who was on the block. Wiles, who's been employed in the centres a lot this season. He's very comfortable on the wing, he's comfortable at fullback.
Let's go.
He is the archetypal utility man. He's been a terrific club man for Sarries. And they've needed him this season with, of course, Brad Barrett still out. He's going to be back shortly, we understand. Another couple of weeks probably for Brad Barrett. And Duncan Taylor's picked up a knock recently as well, so centres covered just a little bit there. Lamb, very deep and flattened by Farrell. Tigers struggling for possession. It may well be turnover ball here for Saracens. It is.
Well, look at that hit from 10 on 10, man on man, absolutely out the blocks quick. And it looked like Ben Youngs had put in a really deep pass, and Owen Farrell doesn't buy the dummy at all. I think certainly Richard Cockler and his coaching staff be disappointed the way that Leicester were pushed off the ball here, and Saracens forced the turnover, as we see Owen Farrell just throwing everything into that tackle.
I also think he'd be disappointed with his control from halfbacks. 9 and 10, not linking that well at the minute, not getting their side out of difficult positions. In this weather, that's what you want from your 9 and 10. Get the ball on the ground, get it in behind, get a decent chase.
Yes, 9!
Your forwards will thank you for it.
It will certainly come under the spotlight, won't it, with Flood's departure. A messy scrummage, which Wayne Barnes will want reset. Where would your money be, Austin, on the replacement for Flood? Would it be Freddie Burns? Will it be Reece Priestland? Would it be somebody? Richard Cockrell told me in the week he was also looking at some players in France too.
I think you're going to annoy a selection of supporters, but I think Freddie Burns would absolutely flourish behind the Leicester pack. I think he would be a great signing for Leicester, as would Priestland. Priestland more experienced, maybe. I'd get more of a guaranteed package with him. But if it was my money, I'd go for Freddie Burns.
Well, sometimes though Leicester look at the overseas market, and he was mentioning France. They might just go off-piste a little bit and find, one of the, a Tronduc or someone like that who plays out in France.
Or Dan Carter. I've heard Dan Carter's coming.
Yeah, he can play a bit apparently. Big repercussions for England as well, of course, with Flood disappearing as Wiles makes the break. Leicester on the counter, and Matt Tate in a little bit of space. Awkward one for Alex Good to gather. Did well. And Farrell beautifully positioned and exploiting the open expanses.
Fantastic hit. Well, first of all, great take from Good. And,
taken quickly.
Saracens are on the attack.
Strether right in the heart of things, driven on by Hargreaves. 20 metres out. This is Barrington through Ben Youngs. Wigglesworth has Farrell. Strether, well tackled by Goniver. Hargreaves. All hands to the pumps here for Leicester. Just the one-out runners for the time being. Chris Wiles is stopped on that 5-metre line. Patience from Sarries. They know they're close. Farrell swings it wide. Good. Couldn't quite release it to Ashton. Offside Saracens. Sorry, offside the Tigers. So Sarries will have a fairly straightforward penalty here.
Yeah, nothing fancy, is it, Austin, from Saracens? But again, you were talking about that control. You just, contrast the control from Leicester at halfback, from Saracens, albeit in different, with the wind advantage. But they're just able to just do the simple things, looking for the, the one-out runners, sometimes moving it a little bit wider. Just seem to be much more at ease with, with playing with each other.
They are, but it's also a lot easier for Wigglesworth because Sarries are winning virtually every collision. And as they win all those collisions, he gets front foot ball, whereas Youngs is having to back off. He doesn't know who's coming through the ruck. And it's so hard as a 9 when you feel like players are on top of you and you can't get your hands in to the ruck to get the ball clear. But Sarries definitely, Lawrence, winning those collisions.
This weather's not improving. Farrell won't mind too much. This is no more than 8 or 9 metres to the left-hand side of the uprights. Simple stuff. And that's 3 from 3 for Owen Farrell. And once again, the margin is 10 points. Saracens 13, Leicester 3, with 8 minutes of this first half remaining. Leading Harlequins at the break by 9 points to 3. Nick Evans with the single penalty for Quins, and the Chiefs a similar scoreline at Sandy Park, 9 points to 3 against the Falcons. And Northampton have edged in front by 11 points to 9 at Adams Park. Again, the ball held in the wind, and Vunipola has misjudged it. Second time this afternoon.
Yeah, it's just, losing the flight of the ball. The ball is starting out right, but then moving, huge amounts over to the left. He's getting a bit of a pat on the back saying don't worry about it, but he's put his team in a lot of trouble there.
That's 2 scrums.
It's like a cricketer in the deep.
I don't think we should talk about cricket. Current climate, do you?
No, probably not. Probably not wise.
We've had a sabbatical for a year. English cricket, just having a year off. We'll be back.
It's the decider next year, isn't it? 2 years.
Big shot from the Sarries pack. Leicester under a lot of pressure, but they've got the ball. Importantly, Gonover launched. Approaching half-time. How they would love a score to apply some heat to this Saracens outfit. Briggs into Matt Stevens. This is as close as they've been all afternoon.
Off the ball, please.
And they won a penalty. Crane points straight to the post.
Let me doing that. Don't. Once.
Absolutely, and Jordan Crane is, skippering the side today. He's the one that's really trying to, lead by example for Leicester, taking the ball on as Briggs takes it in, and
Go for goal.
Saracens just penalised for going in at the wrong side there.
I actually thought it was quite a good steal by Matt Stevens.
50 metres yours, man.
Kept hold of his shirt, tough one, isn't it? How much do you let go of?
Seems to be on the wrong side of the referee a lot this season, Matt Stevens, isn't he? He's getting a bit of a reputation.
He's up to 15 penalties through the course of this season. A lot of those in the scrummage. Quite a lot of them came in the fixture against Northampton, where they were well beaten at Franklin's Gardens.
Yeah. But the ball came away, so we played through it. Oh, definitely, yeah.
Still the chosen one at tight head, though, for the most part. James Johnson having to wait his turn in Sarries' colours.
Cheers, Mark. Thanks, mate.
Big play being made about the kind of shape they want to see him in.
This is like a golfer now on the tee with a 40-mile-an-hour side wind, who's thinking, right, 7 iron, 120 yards, got to pick it out. How far right do I aim?
far enough is the answer, I think, for Ryan Lamb in the most testing of conditions.
I'd be disappointed with that, because his last kick, he really put it such a, it was almost another half the width of the post out on the outside on the right, and that never really gave it a chance.
Restart is a low one, picked up by Benjamin. Don't want to give him too much room to move. Montpellier will testify to that. Here's Lamb again, going high. Tester for good. Well taken. Amazing running from the fullback. Floats it to a rather bigger man in the shape of Kelly Brown. Farrell has his kick charged down, and Leicester have their try through Kitchener. It is a Christmas present for the Leicester Tigers, almost on the stroke of half-time. Graham Kitchener provides the vital 5 and now surely 7 points.
Well, out of nowhere, really. I mean, Leicester, having just missed the penalty, look at this, just a too low a kick from Farrell, really, wasn't it? He didn't have time to put in a low kick. Needed to sort of get his boots around that. And, great follow-up from Kitchener, and gets the try. And Leicester be delighted if they go down the tunnel at half-time.
Oh, absolutely. A side that, for the first 20, didn't really look in it in terms of intensity, physicality, losing the collisions. This really now gives them a huge opportunity to go into the second half, really, with a massive advantage.
Really important intervention from Graham Kitchener. A try, of course, in the grand final last season.
They're right. 250.
And this a rather more simple effort for Ryan Lamb, who's taking no chances, taking this from, that's no more than about 8 metres out from the try line. Straight through the middle, and those are absolutely critical points for the Tigers.
He has to put his hand up now, Lawrence, not for just that try, but his all-around play around the field. England now have a bit of a plethora of second rows to pick from. And this guy's looking so good, so strong around the field. We saw Patterson last night, another one you could put into that mix. Looking good for England.
Is Patterson eligible? He's a Kiwi, isn't he?
He's eligible, yeah.
Just goes to show, doesn't it, that drop by Vunipola was quite critical for Saracens, because it just allowed Leicester that field position which they haven't otherwise had. See if they can make amends here.
Somebody's likely to feel the full force. I think it was Pablo Matera who held him back. Quickly taken by Wigglesworth. Nicely offloaded by Farrell. Good is there. Almost up to the 22. Ashton for Wiles. Still going, Wiles. Pumping those legs. Options each way here for Wigglesworth. Surrey's keeping it tight. Wayne Barnes is going to be checking with the television match official on a couple of different elements in a moment or two. Inside ball from Farrell, and it's gone forwards straight off the chest and over the dead ball line.
Just a couple of things I think we're going to hear from Wayne Barnes, the referee. Just wants to check a couple of things back earlier in play.
Music.
Graham Hughes, the television match official today.
Looks like it's warm in the truck.
2 pieces of foul, protected foul play I want to see. There's an offload back on about the 10-metre line, back in field, whether the player was tackled late and dangerously. Look at that first, please. And then I want to look on the goal line, about 5 metres out, whether the captain of Leicester has taken 3 without the ball and whether he's used an arm.
Right, so we're playing back originally.
Yeah.
And then the 1 5 metre short.
Yeah, I want to look at 2, please.
Okay.
I've already had a look at the Kitchener tackle. Kitchener hits Farrell as he gets the ball. It's not illegal, it's not dangerous, it's just a very hard hit. Knocks him to the floor. For my money, it's a decent tackle as he offloads. Maybe a little bit later, actually. I saw it from behind. I saw the other angle.
The thing is that as Kitchener's lining him up, he's probably unaware that he's actually passed the ball.
Just an element of a lift about it as well.
There is, but you watch this.
Does he go past the horizontal? Oh. Penalty. Okay.
Yeah, penalty, agreed.
I saw it from behind. It didn't look that bad because the pass was so good from Farrell, but
I mean, he has hit him late, but because he's unsighted and Farrell's effectively given a blind pass, he probably still thinks that Farrell's holding on to the ball when he tackles him.
Perhaps isn't so much the lateness as
That's just a clash of heads, isn't it?
the element of tipping. That one looks a little bit
Couple
more.
of very large heads.
Proper clash of heads.
Okay, Barnsley, yeah, I have a report.
Hold on 1 second, I just see that last one again. Okay, mate. Let
Yeah.
me just tell you what I've seen. The first tackle by, I think it's 5 minutes, blue-red scrum cap. He's tackled the player late, taken him beyond the horizontal and not brought him to ground safely.
But he's landed on his back.
And he's landed on his back.
Yeah.
That is a yellow card unless you've got anything to add.
No, that's fine.
Okay, we've then gone through that, so we'll go through that, and then I've just got a collision. I've got nothing on the goal line, a collision of 2 players.
Yeah,
Anything
just
to add
total
on that?
accidental. No, that's fine.
Okay, captains, please. Captains, please.
This is
Let me
looking
just
like a
tell you
yellow
what I
card for
see.
Graham
As
Kitchener.
the players pass the ball back
That's
there,
a shame, isn't it? 'Cause
he's
it's
been tackled late, beyond the horizontal.
Put a blot
and not
on
brought
an
to ground
otherwise
safely.
excellent
So
half
that
for
player
him.
goes to the bin. This is just a collision. Okay, no, don't ask for that, please. It's a yellow card because we landed on his back. This here is just a collision, so I'm going back here, and your blue scrum cap, I think it's 5, goes to the bin, and we're going back there for the penalty. Barnsley Robin, it is 5 wide, 5 wide.
So the try scorer. A mixed few minutes for Graham Kitchener. He'll have 10 minutes in the cooler.
It's interesting to listen to Wayne Bard's wording there. When he said he lifted him above the horizontal, even though he landed on his back, that meant that he had to give him a yellow card, as we see the tackle
Yeah,
now.
you've got it there. That's fine, Barnsley, yeah.
He has taken him, marginally above the horizontal, but by saying that, he had no other option other than to give the yellow card.
And he just dropped him.
Yeah,
There was no attempt to lower him.
Under
in
the
any
current
way, was there?
laws, it's the right decision, but I personally think in 15 years we'll be playing touch if they carry on with this.
Them's the laws at the moment.
They are the laws. It's a late hit, it's a penalty. It's okay when it's not being done to you, isn't it, really?
What it does do, though, is take out the key decision maker in the Leicester line-out. For 1 more minute of this half and 9 minutes of the second half, and that could be decisive, given the how close this game is now.
And it's exercised Richard Cockerell sufficiently to bring him down to the touchline. Last knockings of this opening half. Sarries trying to exploit the extra man advantage they have now in the remaining seconds. Jamie George. Terra holding him up, doing a pretty effective job of stemming the flow for the moment. Stevens breaks away with Runapola. Farrell switches the point of attack quite beautifully. Acres of space. Ashton, he's a finisher. Chris Ashton continues his hot streak.
Might just have a look, Wayne Barnes, just to see if that pass was forward to Chris Ashton.
Okay.
Let's just see what he says to Graham Hughes up in the box.
Just checking the last pass.
Yeah, just checking on that last pass. Quite interesting because actually the pass from Wigglesworth to Farrell initially was a poor one. So, made him check. And when he checked, he thought, actually, there's an opportunity here on the blind side. So,
Yeah, that's time off, is it? Thanks.
just checking this. Oof.
Oh dear.
Well, from this angle, it does look forward, but, we are nowhere near parallel with the pass.
I think this is a tough one to give.
It's not exactly clear which direction the hands are facing as the pass is given. Farrell's pass is fine. From that angle it looks bad.
Yeah.
I still think they'll give the try.
Do you? I
Yeah.
think looking at his hands there, the movement of his body.
Well, in a similar way.
The problem you've got is that the change of direction actually takes Ashton by surprise, so he finds himself standing in front. He's still in front now, he's still in front, right? That's a forward pass. You know what I used to play for Leicester Tigers? It's definitely a forward pass.
No, I think it's...
Shut up, Lawrence, you know what you're talking about, it's forward.
I think it's straight. I think the try will stand myself. I think it'll be a harsh one to pull back there, but it's just very interesting that know, that was either an exceptional piece of vision by Owen Farrell, or just the pass put him on his right shoulder as opposed to his left shoulder, and therefore, you know, able to, you know, see the overlap there. Either way, if it is given as a try, Leicester will be questioning, you know, their defence and who should have been out there.
I think if you throw a left-hand spin pass, your left hand finishes facing backwards over your right hand. In this situation, both of his hands end up facing almost parallel, which to me feels like it's a non-try.
Which case,
looking at me.
Keep talking, Tigers boy.
That's definitely forward. It's
Wiles
forward.
has thrown the pass a little bit early because he had time to run closer to the line, get himself in front of Ashton and make it, no doubt. But let's see what Husey says.
Just one more, Barnsley at full speed.
He's listening to you, Austin.
Yeah, we're not going to see anything conclusive, are we, from that angle?
Well, at full speed, I think it looks in line.
Barnsley.
Usually, Barnsley, unless you've got a clear shot of his hands going forward, there's nothing clear or obvious. I'm ordering the try.
I agree.
Try given. Chris Ashton, now 5 tries in his last 6 matches. He may not be doing it relentlessly in England colours, but for Saracens, he's in red-hot form.
It's interesting because Wayne Barnes, the referee, quite rightly, what goes to the TMO. Lets the TMO have 5 minutes to look at it. Has a quick look up on the screen and thought, no, I'm going to give the try.
Got it wrong.
Not afraid to take the decision back off the TMO, is he, Wayne Barnes? And
there's been quite a bit of that recently, almost to the point where we're beginning to question the regularity with which we refer to the TMO.
Football.
Tough one for Farrell. And across the face this time. 18 points to 10. Fascinating half of rugby, and that Ashton score just restores the Saracens' dominance on the scoreboards. Leicester down a man, remember. Martin Baker, all yours.
Well, with Alex good. Alex, that last try has rescued maybe that first half from being one of frustration for Saracens. A lot of dominance.
Richard Cockrell telling us he thought it was a 15 to 17 point wind. Sarries turning around though with an 8-point buffer, and they are now playing into the gale. And for the next 8 minutes or so they will have an extra man. Graham Kitchener remains in the sin bin. It is very much in the balance. We have Terence Hepatima onto the field, and also Marcus Ayerza, who's come in for Boris Stankovic. We'll let you know who Hepatima has replaced in just a moment or two. Oh, there is Stankovic, so presumably it's Balmain who has been dispatched. We'll update you as we go. Matt Smith has had to remove himself by the sounds of things. So Terence Hepatima, who's a 21-year-old Kiwi, comes on, started against Wasps and Harlequins.
that just gives you an idea of the conditions there. Very, very deep kick from Leicester Tigers right into the bottom right-hand corner there, and Richard Wigglesworth unable to do anything other than put it 5 metres forward, giving Leicester a wonderful opportunity right at the beginning of this second half.
Line-out ball secured by Slater. This is just what Richard Cockrell ordered in the opening couple of minutes of this second half. Driving maul inside the Sarries 22. Gibson is isolated, he's got no assistance. Penalty Sarries. If you're going to go, you need your mates with you, Lawrence.
Well, you do, and if you don't have them with you, you just need to buy a little bit longer on your feet. And unfortunately, it's just gang tackled there, and Saracens forced the turnover. But, you know, more importantly, when you, just as we see, quite rightly, referee giving the decision for holding on, but when you're a man down in the sin bin, you do want to be spending the time down in the opposition 22, trying to run that clock down before they get Graham Kitchener back on the field.
You're in. Wait, okay, 2 metres out.
So apologise for the confusion of the front row replacements. It is Mako Gunapola who's onto the field for Richard Barrington at loose head for Sarries. The Leicester front row remains intact. And this is Fraser Balmain. Hepatima. loose from Youngs. Gonova trying to create a bit of room. A revelation he's been this season. Youngs with the win, but straight into touch.
It's a frustrating minute and a half there for Ben Youngs. He's just chattering away to Wayne Barnes because he feels like he's being tackled after he's passed the ball. Just as we see him there when he's kicked the ball there, just kicked it out on the full. But you know, Saracens just giving Ben Youngs some special attention around the side of the breakdown.
Interesting to hear though from Richard Hill in advance of this match about the way the wind tends to swirl around the stadium. The weather front very much coming in from the south, in behind the Tigers' backs, but the wind itself doesn't tend to be uniform within the stadium. Wigglesworth running into Wayne Barnes almost.
Penalty advantage. Wayne Barnes is playing there for pulling the man down at the line out.
Number one pulling player out the ball. Just sack the man with the ball, okay?
He's the man at fault on this occasion, allowing Sarries to get back down inside the Leicester half.
One thing that Leicester aren't doing very well at half-back is dealing with that Saracens blitz defence. Sarries are really coming up out of the blocks, and you know, at the moment, you know, the way to overcome that is either switch and just bring the ball back in, or little chips over the top. But at the moment, Ben Youngs and Ryan Lamb still haven't quite worked out how to overcome that Saracens blitz.
Well, this is a very effective drive from the home side. Wigglesworth gets the offload away nicely. Inside ball from Wilson to Wiles, approaching the try line. Wigglesworth goes left, and it's an open goal, and Billy Vunipola will make absolutely no mistake.
Nice try time, and it's just a great break from Richard Wigglesworth, but it's just again the speed of the ball from the breakdown allowed Vunipola to basically run in unopposed. So we see Leicester not dealing with the line-out drive initially. Saracens getting a fantastic drive on. We can see Wigglesworth making the half break, getting the offload away, and it's just that inside-outside ball. And Wiles, look at him fighting hard to stay on his feet, and just manages to get the ball back on his terms. And just look at the speed of this ball. You're never going to stop Vunipola from there. Great try from Saracens.
Great resilience from the home side, and a low conversion through the posts from Owen Farrell. And suddenly the scoreline looks really very different indeed. 25 points to 10, and when Kitchener went over, the conversion by Lamb, the difference was only 3. And that was only 3 minutes before the half-time break.
Good to go.
Well, if it is a 15-point win, then it should be 25 all. We'll find out. You need a platform. We saw last night London Irish had a very strong win, but they had no platform. If Leicester can get that, then they're still in the contest.
There's a few people with strong wind around here, Austin.
Sprouts, mate, it's the Sprouts.
It is the season. Jamie George had a front row change from Richard Cockrell. The entirety of them have been removed. Penalty here to Saracens, so Ajetsa, Tom Youngs and Jerome Schuster are on for the Tigers.
Yeah, just frustration there from Jamie Gibson as we see him last up. Just went in off his feet and contested the ball, and Saracens demanding the penalty from Wayne Barnes, which duly comes.
Just looking back to the try, guys, it's really evident about the work rate of Saracens and how they get back. As they make the break, look at the space that is on the blind side for Leicester. So you've got Ed Slater there, and you need another defender, but there's just no other defender outside him to cover that gap. That gap there is way too wide, and the reason for that is, as we play it on, you've got 3 Leicester forwards walking, beaten back into position.
And also the speed that Leicester are allowing Richard Wigglesworth to win that breakdown.
Controlling this nicely with Ernst Joubert driving the bus. Hargreaves is right alongside him. They've got the penalty. This is midway between the 10-metre and the 10-metre line. Crossfield kick from Farrell, looking to pick out Ashton. Instead it's Tate who's underneath it, but they will come back for the penalty.
Really turning the heat up now, Sarries, aren't they? Making the most of that extra man. particularly at the line-out, getting the line-out drive going, forcing Leicester into giving away the penalties. And Owen Farrell on that instance knew that he had the advantage, hence the crossfield kick, and another opportunity for Sarries.
Another couple of minutes to serve for Graham Kitchener. Cockrell will be desperate to get all his men back on the field. Farrell barking the instructions. He's a man who knows his own mind.
But it's smart play, isn't it, from Saracens? Graham Kitchener there in our screen, off the field. Last 2 or 3 line-out, Saracens have obviously won the ball easily at the line-out, but choosing to drive with the extra man. I'm sure they'll do exactly the same thing again.
Hargreaves wins it. We've got Ashton lurking right out wide on the right wing, looking for that same crossfield kick potentially. They'll want to punch a hole or two up the middle first. Wigglesworth for Jamie George. There's Vunipola, just always gets across the game line. Oh, we've got a man down.
No.
I think that might be Terence Hepatima, who has only just appeared on the pitch.
When he's down, I want to look at that tackle as well, please.
Yeah, he didn't use his arms.
Yeah, and I want to see
Went low on Vunipola and came off second best. I don't think there was anything malicious in there.
Yeah.
You can see Vunipola just holding his right knee.
Me. Look, I've just stopped the game because your player's been knocked out, but I think he may have been knocked out because he hasn't used his arms in the tackle. All they're screaming all the time. I don't listen to that.
Okay.
Are these conversations familiar to you, Lawrence?
They are very familiar. Main bars. I don't listen to that. He's quite right. He doesn't listen to it, just as we see. Yeah, he's just gone in there without using the arms, and I think that was the point.
Yeah, Hepatima basically goes so low. You get the impression he wanted to use the arms, and then he was so low down, and Vunipola was right on top of him that he decided against last minute.
Well, I can just tell you, for all those watching at home, it's not to use your neck. That's not the way you tackle, because that is how you get hurt.
With a big guy like you who's running like that, that is the last thing you want to do. I know you want to bring him down quickly, and it's very brave, but it's also very stupid. You know, hopefully he's okay and there's no permanent damage, but it's so dangerous. If you're a kid watching that, do not do it.
He's also got his head in the wrong position, because he's put his head right in front of the legs of Vunipola running, which is there, just got himself right in, effectively got a knee in the head for his troubles.
Barnsley.
Hold on 1 second, let me just get rid of these players.
Okay.
Yeah, mate, look, there is nothing on the screen at all, so...
Yeah, there's no arms in the tackle. He basically dives down.
Okay.
But in doing so, he bangs his head against the leg of the attacker.
Okay, so we've got no arms tackle.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking penalty. Anything else?
No.
Thanks very much. Look, they didn't show it on the big screen, but the reason...
I think Borthwick will want a red for that, like he has for every other tackle.
So it's a penalty again.
Oh, it's harsh to have a penalty for a no-arms tackle. He was just so, his technique is so poor. He's been penalised for it, poor lad.
Well, it's just a good job we haven't had a yellow card to a man who's not actually up on his feet.
No arms in the tackle.
He is now up on his feet. Happily, Hepatima is making his way off the field, but it'll be an interesting juggling job now in the centres, because Matt Smith went off earlier. They've got Adam Thompson potentially that they can use, and he has come on for Hepatima.
Niall Morris could move into the midfield. Thompson could play there as well. They've got Gunnover. They've got plenty of flexibility, but unfortunately they've got no players left now if anything else happens to anyone else.
In terms of game management of this sin bin, you have to say that, you know, Saracens have really handled it very, very well. They've scored the try. They've had 3 consecutive line-outs, driving line-outs, you know, work this penalty opportunity, and rather fortuitously have got an opportunity to add another 3 points.
Well, in very testing conditions today, Farrell has been in extremely good form. Just that one miss from a long way out on the touchline. And the buffer is extended by Saracens' young number 10. 18 points the difference. Half an hour left to play. Leicester at full strength, but with a rejigged back division now. Here's Terence Hepatima. Probably take a little bit of time to come to terms with that bang to the head from Billy Vunipola. He won't be the first, and he certainly won't be the last. Here's Jack Wilson. He's had a lively game. A really impressive Kiwi who's, well, I hesitate to say filling in for Dave Strettle. He's taken Strettle's place. He's done an extremely good job. Must gather from Tate, the offload is a good one as well for Jordan Crane. Donovan caught in midfield. Sarri's turnover ball. Strella searching for the gaps. Mako Vunipola, one man to bring off the bench. Himself making a return from injury. He had a recent knee problem that's kept him out since early October. Keen to make amends. That's gone to nobody in particular.
Don't touch a 9.
They tidy up well, Saracens, don't they? They're extremely good when things don't go wrong. The scrambling and the work rate is terrific.
Just incredibly well organised, you know, textbook stuff out of their own 22. Forwards really taking the responsibility of, you know, into the wind, 2 or 3 phases with the forwards, and then the kick goes in from Wigglesworth, and the kick chase is so much better, and they now find themselves on the Leicester, you know, just almost inside the Leicester half.
Nice little burst from Stretler. Wilson is chancing his arm. Not sure Wigglesworth was expecting that from Farrell.
Okay, no worries. Okay, just there. Good work.
Wigglesworth finding Wiles. Most phases in the match so far for the men in red and black. It's been slowed right up. Vunipola tries to inject a little bit of direction to proceedings. There's the tackle from Tom Youngs, another who's playing some terrific rugby. Big scrap for that number 2 shirt for England as well, with Dylan Hartley playing so well. And Sarries ultimately lose out.
Yeah, Chris Ashton just taking the ball in, tried to lay the ball back, but unfortunately on this occasion Leicester managed to get in there and get over the top of the ball. As we see Chris Ashton just trying to find a bit of space for himself through the middle. Does well initially to lay the ball back. I think it's Tom Youngs, is it, on the field. There's the impact of a player of his quality, you know, he immediately able to force the turnover for Leicester.
But also the benefit, Lawrence, of actually getting stuck in at the ruck. It's the first ruck out of about 9 that a Leicester player got over the top.
Yeah, who do you want that?
I think against Saracens, if you give them front foot ball and you allow the 9s to dictate, they'll murder you on this track. You have to really take them on at the breakdown.
Here come the replacements at scrum half. Wigglesworth is replaced by the 35-year-old South African Neil de Kock. And James Johnston is on in place of that man, Matt Stevens. Tom Waldron on in the back row for Leicester. Pablo Matera makes way.
Who's your scrum half? Who's your scrum half?
James Johnston, obviously a summer arrival from Harlequins. He's been on a very careful fitness regime. That one may just have come off the fingertips of Youngs. It did.
Yeah, Leicester being wasteful of their possession, and it's the frustration there, just as we see Richard Wigglesworth sat down. He's been absolutely outstanding for 53 minutes for Saracens. Really pulled the strings brilliantly from half-back. Just really dictated the tempo of their game. And for me, the outstanding player on the pitch so far.
Crouch!
Very consistent player, Richard Wigglesworth, and durable too. He's been part of every single Premiership squad for the last, well, almost 2 years.
Fellas, let's just come a little... Hold on, 1 second. Let's just come a little bit higher.
It's a telling stat, isn't it?
Come a little bit higher.
Sarri's just bossing operations at the moment. Really making a statement of intent
I have to tell you something that's on Twitter from Matthew Buckland. He said, "You're right, Austin Healey. If you're a child, do not try and tackle Billy Vunipola in full flow." It just made me giggle. Do not throw yourself in front of Billy Vunipola. I think that applies even if you're not a child.
I'm glad we've had that clarified though, Austin. It was important. Important everybody knows where they stand.
Crouch.
Such a key player, isn't he? Not just for Saracens, but for England as well.
You said it, Lawrence. Off slow or medium-paced ball, he just gives you go forward. It's like a get-out-of-jail card on the Monopoly board, which I get the kids to steal, usually at about 3 o'clock on Christmas Day.
Both tight heads, feet underneath, hitting up.
Mixing and matching a good bit between the blind side and number 8. And in all reality, it doesn't tend to make a great deal of difference to the way he plays, whether he's got that 8 on his back or the 6 on his back. George Crew is warming up pitch side as well.
Get your balance, so don't overbalance. Just a little.
The one thing we must mention on this pitch is, you know, in these conditions, the scrummaging, we've had no problems at all, have we, really? So, you know, for all people who say, well, it's not for me, but it really does speed the pace of the game up. We've had no collapse scrums whatsoever. There I say, Mr. Barnes, that gives a penalty in the scrum.
Apart from that one.
Apart from that one, but it's been very good.
James Johnston's first contribution to proceedings. And Lamb will make sure this is low.
Interesting, James Johnson, isn't it? Because a big signing from Harlequins. You know, reportedly, you know, big numbers as well spent on him, and he hasn't really had the impact at Saracens. You know, Matt Stevens very much the #1 choice.
So Bath are leading Quins at the wreck by 14 points to 3. Jonathan Joseph with a try for Bath. Exeter 13 points up on Newcastle. Try from Hayden Thomas. And Northampton just about with their noses in front over Wasps. 14 points to 12. Here come Leicester. The penalty goes the way of Saracens. Ben Young's not a happy man.
He's just grabbed out the player and
Oh, this is such a bad decision. Such a bad.
Well, unfortunately, it was so in front of him. I mean, Ben Young's just taking his frustrations out on Steve Borthwick, who I'm sure will be telling the referee.
What has happened to rugby? Well, you can't just get on with something like that. He's been ignored, he's in the way, he knows exactly what he's doing. Get out of the way, let's get on with the game.
I have to agree with you, although possibly grabbing him around the neck wasn't the way it should have been done.
2 metres.
Yeah, I think most scrum halves would agree with you, Austin. That it was a player who needed to be moved. Slow, steady progress for Sarries. Content to eat up the minutes and sap the energy of the Tigers forwards, but they have the beneficiaries of possession of the ball. So let's head to Martin Bayfield, who's with Matt Stevens.
Matt, you're keeping an eager eye on proceedings. You're off the pitch now, but you have to put in a big shift there. On a day like tonight, it is going to be one for the forwards, isn't it?
It is. The conditions play a big part, you know, especially when the wind's against you. You can't see it now, Martin, but there's a massive win against Saracens. Leicester had it in the first half, and you've got to play a bit more rugby. You can't play that kicking game because you can't actually kick the ball. So you've got to get in the drives, you've got to get in the scrums, try and win penalties there, get your A play going around the corner, keep it going. It's about holding on to the ball and keeping possession away from Leicester, who can be so devastating in open play.
It's been outstanding. Thanks for talking to us.
No problem, Beth.
Leicester on the attack. Bath have won their match, by the way, against Harlequins at the wreck by 14 points to 3. Penalty to Leicester.
He's the first man, you're the second one. Beaten by the ruck.
George Crew singled out this time.
You're not the first man there.
Quizzical looks from both men.
Beaten by the ruck. Not number 19. Number 7.
Yeah, beaten by the ruck. It's a term that we hear the referee saying. So when you're the second man there, you can't go in and compete for the ball if the ruck is already underway.
Just on your scrum, your title, make sure
George Crew, 23-year-old, rising through the ranks. Made his England Saracens debut back in February. And he's learning under the master, with Steve Borthwick and Hargreaves as well, lending his experience. Important line out this one, you feel, for the Tigers, if they're to have any chance at all of making a contest of this.
He's in the air, took the support round.
3 points won't be enough, so presumably into the corner this will go.
Still 20 minutes, isn't there, for Leicester to try and get something out of this game. Obviously 18 points adrift, so just about building some pressure now and seeing if they can get over the line.
Keep remembering those words of Richard Cockerell, the 15 to 17 point margin that he thought the wind would offer. And his side are the ones with that at their back right now. They haven't scored a point in this second half. Maybe one is going to be forthcoming soon. Sarri's doing well to stem the flow at the moment. A bit more forward momentum now from the Tigers. Slater removing Mako Bunapola. Lamb, little chip over the top, very small in-goal area.
Yeah, right idea from Ryan Lamb. Just a little bit too much weight on the kick, but then Wayne Barnes has gone back for the penalty.
18. Am I okay to stop? Am I okay to stop? Okay. What, stop? Yeah, what?
It's the second penalty, of course. Just as we hear what Wayne Barnes is saying.
Let me just tell you what the two penalties are for. First one is a man's in the air, you've taken the support lifter. That one, your number 18, is just unbound and come around the side and affected the play. So that's two in this area. Need to change, okay? Need to change your behaviour or put someone in the bin. Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can.
Need to change your behaviour, but still not concede a try.
Let them have a chat.
It's a fine line.
Wasps have gone ahead. You'll be interested to learn, Lawrence, against the Saints by 15 points to 14. Joe Carlisle with the all-important penalty. Just 3 minutes left on that one.
Yeah.
Be a really big win for London Wasps. So pressure being applied here by the Tigers. They need to turn all of that into points. Slater gathers it from Youngs. Trying to work it straight through the middle, and Saracens' defence splintering for a moment, pushing them back in field. Terrific defending. Hand it to the Wolfpack.
Yeah, very much so. Look at the backs lifting. Owen Farrell lifting them up, patting it forwards on the back. This time, Saracens are able to repel Leicester legally. And you feel with that turnover, that shift in momentum.
It's Kelly Brown right on top of Tom Waldrum there, making sure the ball was the target.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Ball to ground my side, white elbow first.
Same ball. Same ball.
So more full-time scores for you. A result
Nice high bind.
from Sandy Park. And Exeter beaten Newcastle by 16 points to 3. And a dramatic finish from Northampton. Stephen Myler has pinched the win over Wasps. A last-minute penalty. 17-15.
Been a popular referee leaving Adams Park, wasn't he?
Maybe he won't leave Adams Park.
I can't see, I'm the far side.
That's the stuff of potential champions, isn't it? Northampton winning in the 80th minute.
Well, they produced the goods, didn't they, in Dublin against Leicester, having been given a real pasting in the opening fixture between those two at Franklin's Gardens.
Bind. Set. Yes, 9.
Sarries looking to clear after a period of relentless defence. Billy Vunipola has lost that in contact. Another chance perhaps for the Tigers. They need the quick ball. It's been slowed up. Youngs gets it away at the second attempt. And a little bit of an opening here for Benjamin on the outside arc. No shortage of pace. Morris is there too. The cover tackle is a good one from Wiles.
Well, a couple of things to talk about there. Firstly, the pick up and go from Vunipola. Excellent pick up under pressure, but one thing he will learn is when the offload is on and when it's not on. And Gibson able to just prevent that. Look at this from Leicester. Looked like nothing was on, but they just created the overlap with Miles Benjamin coming round. The blind pass out, but look at the Saracens cover, and that's just been the intensity and that real hunger and the desire. 3 of them able to force Leicester into touch.
Really good work from Miles Benjamin, because it was his tackle on Vunipola and then had to chase all the way across to try to release Morris. Here they come again, Leicester. Crane. Not the nicest of passes for Ryan Lamb, who swings it all the way to Benjamin again. Chris Ashton.
And you're off your feet.
A lot of heat being applied here by the Tigers, Lawrence, but they've got to come away with something.
Yeah, a lot of pressure being applied, but Saracens, you know, happy with a 28 points to 10 scoreline just to absorb that pressure. Run the clock down. So we see the stats up there.
Okay, replace it. You're making a replacement for us.
So the percentage there for Saracens, absolutely outstanding. 96% tackles made.
Probably a little bit more worrying for Leicester. 15 tackles missed. That's a big missed percentage for Leicester. Probably reflected in the pressure.
David Mele on at scrum half for Ben Youngs. There's Tom Youngs finding the mark. This just looks a little bit more promising now for the Tigers, who are nicely set in this maul. Slater has his hands on it. Mele is instructing him. He goes with Dajertsa. The big back rowers into action. Waldron and Crane, and here goes Youngs. Not allowed too much room to breathe. Saracens suffocating with their defence and dislodging and booting it away, and now the foot race. Good work from Tate.
Done absolutely brilliantly there, Tate, earning his side the penalty in the process. But you know, look at the intensity of that Saracens defence. We saw there as Leicester pick and drove 3 times around the edge of the breakdown. Every single time they were smashed on the gain line or behind the gain line.
And that was either going to be a kick of great genius or one that landed Leicester in deep trouble. And it looks like the latter from Ryan Lamb. Who have we got down here?
I think it might be Owen Farrell that's down. Just trying to look at it now.
Looks a
little bit flies in, he flies in and hits his head on Gonover's knee, I think. His hip. Oh, it's a big collision, that. He's out before he hits the floor there, isn't he? Let's hope he's okay.
It's right on the hip bone, isn't it?
He gets squeezed, sandwiched between the 2 hips of Lamb and Gonover.
This could be a while.
That's a massive collision.
No, he's taking a kick, so it'll be a scrum option that they've taken.
Well, he throws himself into contact, Owen Farrell, doesn't he? Absolutely, totally committed.
Well, he's really led that blitz defence, led that line. You know, the line speed and the commitment that he showed there.
This might take a while, so I don't know if you...
So there will be possibly a lengthy delay here while the medics attend to Owen Farrell. So a reminder of what's coming up on BT Sport through the festive period. And we start tomorrow at Kingsholm, Gloucester against Worcester, which is a 1 o'clock start. For us at Kingsholm, it's a 2 o'clock kick-off. Freddie Burns dropped to the bench this week, and Billy Twelvetrees will start at number 10 for the Cherry and Whites. So much chatter around the fly halves of the Premiership at the moment, with Toby Flood. That confirmation from Richard Cockerell today. Flood will leave Leicester at the end of the season and head to France, to an undisclosed club at the moment. We understand that Toulouse is the likely destination. Austin, where do you think this leaves England, aside from Leicester, with Toby Flood potentially out of the picture in France? Certainly they need to be looking at the other options. They need to be looking at the Burnses, the George Fords, the Milers, the Ciprianis of this world.
Not sure. Well, definitely George Ford. I think he's playing really well. He takes the ball to the line. He brings forwards around him. And England need an inside back that goes forward, goes parallel to the touchline. If they can get that, then they can find width. They were stifling their width in the autumn internationals, I felt, by the 10 and 12 moving sideways a little bit too often. But for Leicester, I thought I just clipped up something actually which really highlighted for me. In cold weather, this is what you want from a winger. Miles Benjamin makes a great tackle. There he is, he's highlighted right on the blind side. Now just watch him. He doesn't stand there, doesn't just stand on his wing. No, he thinks, how am I going to get back in this game? How am I going to get involved? Look at his work rate all the way to the outside. He's run a full 70-metre arc all the way around. And then he finds the opportunity because the ball comes in that off channel that it often does, and it nearly comes to something. You know, if you're a kid and you're playing tomorrow morning and you're stood on the wing and it's raining and you're cold, have a look at that. Get yourself warm, run from side to side and get in the game. Really impressed with the way he's come back to fitness and form.
Well, he scored 2 cracking tries at Welford Road in that first fixture against Montpellier, and he's had a hell of a time of it through injury. 13 months out with a broken neck. He was in a neck brace for a full 3 months, during which time he told me in the week he'd got through pretty much every box set known to mankind, and had a lot of time to work on his music. He loves his music, big fan of jazz. He was actually named after Miles Davis, and in fact we had a chuckle because his second name is David, so he's Miles David Benjamin, but he says he wondered if his dad perhaps had fat fingers when he was registering his name, because in fact he thought he was supposed to be Miles Davis Benjamin.
Guys, you talk about, you know, Leicester and Benjamin really leading, but it's the Saracens' defence here. Look at this. This is the third penalty, I think. And just watch this commitment from Saracens, and this really has epitomised their performance. You know, Leicester really throwing everything at them, and they're just being met either on the gain line or behind the gain line. You know, first of all, Saracens dealing with that driving ball. Just watch this. I think as Ayerza breaks off there with Ed Slater, and here the pick and go from Jordan. Well, first of all, it's the prop, and then Jordan Crane, and just being met on the gain line. And it's just that blitz defence now that enables Saracens to really put the pressure on. Just totally committed. And here it is, Farrell unfortunately getting himself injured there, and then the hack through from Miles. But it's just epitomised Saracens' commitment to that defensive line speed all day long.
This is never a good sight to see on a rugby pitch. Owen Farrell in a neck brace, concern for the player himself, for his family, for the club, and of course for England, with the Six Nations looming in, what is it, around about 6 weeks from now. England start their campaign in Paris against the French, and there's no question at the moment he is the standout number 10 as far as Stuart Lancaster's concerned.
Yeah, very much so. Just picking up on Austin, you know, he's clearly George Ford, you know, undoubtedly comes into the mix. An interesting, you know, EPS squad that Stuart Lancaster's got to announce, I think, on January the 9th, because, you know, as it stands, I think, you know, as much as some people might disagree, Cipriani's consistency certainly merits inclusion in the EPS squad. You know, Freddie Burns, you know, his form has dipped a little bit, so he probably, you know, might have dropped back in the pecking order. I think some very interesting options for Stuart Lancaster at 10, and selection of that squad will be absolutely fascinating.
I think at most you're going to pick 3 10s in that squad, and for me those 3 10s will be Farrell, Flood and Ford. I don't think Cipriani's in the contention yet. Maybe a game for the Saxons, as Ben suggested last night, but his form's good, it's better, just he's not ready yet.
But unless Stuart Lancaster's going to go back on his word and start picking, if Flood's going to France, then and he comes out this next week and says I'm off to France, then would he think about putting him in his World Cup squad? There's no point playing players for England, even in the Six Nations, who aren't going to be in contention for the World Cup. So for me, once Flood tells us all he's off to Toulouse, he falls out of the England reckoning, and I think that does open the door for Cipriani.
Well, you got a valid point on Flood moving.
So another injury to add to the list for Saracens. Owen Farrell departs on a stretcher. Some worried faces from his colleagues and the Saracens fans here, all the fans here.
Certainly wish Owen Farrell all the very best. But what a replacement that Saracens have got to bring on now. Charlie Hodgson.
So Hodgson, 33 last month. Still playing some cracking rugby. Had a slow start to the season because he was out injured, had an Achilles injury that he had to try to get rid of. And that has now been done. Here's Billy Vunipola for De Kock. Lovely arcing run from De Kock. He's still going, looks for the inside ball, and he's found Jackson Ray. Try number 4. It's bonus point time here at Allianz Park.
Wow, fantastic. Back row movement there from Vunipola to De Kock. What a run from De Kock with fresh legs, of course, but you just have to wonder. We'll have another look at the replay here. Where Leicester's blindside defence, where was Gibson here? Did he just get held in? Gibson and Crane were just beaten for pace by De Kock on the outside. You shouldn't really be allowing that to happen down the blind side, Austin.
No, well, Jackson Ray scoring his first touch, but you can argue there that Leicester should have sent a 10 over, maybe Ryan Lamb. He used to cover that blind side with a few more defenders. Like you said, just the sheer pace of De Kock, gets to the outside. That's a cracking first touch.
I just think as a back row forward, sometimes you've got to gamble a little bit. Certainly Gibson, for me, if I was Jordan Crane, I'd have been pushing him out wider very, very quickly.
Well, if we see it again, actually, Jordan Crane beats him to the outside. He actually gets past Gibson and runs past him, so unless Gibson was held in or, like you said, just a slow off the side, it's just a very good score and a well-worked move by Saracens, which effectively wins the match for him.
Jackson Ray, man of the match in the last fixture against Zebre. Rather different opposition today, and in fact this is the first time that a side in the Premiership has registered a try bonus point against the Tigers this season. As Alex Good runs it out of defence. Tate, nicely positioned, fancies a run. Very good pick-up from Slater, and then hacked along the ground. Sarri's back in possession.
Advantage over, kicked away.
It's a clever kick there, in behind, just stays in field as well. Look at the chase now from Saracens.
Fabulous chase from De Kock and Hodgson, the two replacement halfbacks. Fresh legs, full of running, and all the pressure heaped on Miles Benjamin and the Leicester Tigers.
Just look at this, sees the space in behind. That's the secret, really, is that using the wind, using the conditions and putting the ball in behind. Now Morris and just forcing another mistake from the Leicester Tigers.
I thought it was a good scrum, really good scrum last night, both teams.
Leicester have got a bit of defending to do here. They've got to scrum 5 metres from their own line. Big line side on the left, even bigger open side.
Ben Ransom onto the field. He's stationed on that left wing on the blind side here. Looks like the forwards might fancy it. Vunipola fancies it.
10 in the side. There's 20 in the side.
Going to see a card. Who is it that's seen yellow here?
Things going from bad to worse. Could be number 20, is it Thomas Waldron? He's shaking his head, but not really a lot he could do to stem the flow.
He came straight in the side. It's a professional foul, and to letter of the law, yellow card.
It's in danger of unravelling here for the Tigers. There was that famous win in September 2011 up at Welford Road where Sarries put 50 on them. That really the one big anomaly of the rivalry between the two. There have been so many close fixtures, but Sarries pushing for a fifth, driving for a fifth. Lunapola, it's a penalty try.
Nothing rocket science from Saracens. They're just big drive from the pack. Lunapola pick and go, forcing the penalty. Simbin has a few handbags now from Steve Borthwick. Not a surprise.
Let's hope someone catches him with more than a handbag. He's a nose. Gets on my nerves.
Easy to do that when you're winning by 30 points.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's one team smiling right now, and they are home-based. They are home and hosed, with another 8 minutes left to go.
Very impressed, though. I mean, Lunapola doing the simple things. You know, they caused Leicester all sorts of problems with the scrum earlier, with the run and the try, the run by Neil de Kock and the try this time, going for the forward power. Lunapola keeping the ball in the back, forcing the sin binning, and then the penalty try, and that will really hit right at the heart of Leicester.
Absolutely. And it's such a good scrum, Lawrence. They get on the front foot, they're going forward. Look at the power in the drive. Like you said, the 42 points will be painful, but if you're a Leicester pack, you never ever want to go backwards. And like I said, there's no need for this. They've played really well, Saracens. They've dominated this game. There's no need to rub it in.
Well, it's just one of those things where you know, your second row's just hanging around for a little bit longer than he needs to.
So the Tigers having their claws removed this afternoon.
All feet.
De Kock pops it up for Jamie George.
Stand up.
Awkward one over the shoulder for Matt Tate. De Kock for Hodgson. Inch perfect. Inch perfect.
Absolutely inch perfect, but also all the time in the world. You know, I mean, Leicester's kick chase there, just in ones and twos, and the pass there to Hodgson just gave him all the time in the world just to measure his kick and put it in behind. And there's still, you know, 6-7 minutes left in this game, and Leicester got more defending to do.
Well, their eyes will be on the half-century, you'd feel. And a couple of years ago at Welford Road, it was Joubert who turned to Charlie Hodgson towards the end of the match and said, "Give me 50." Psychologically, so important. Leicester running it out of defence through Matthew Tate.
Certainly take nothing away from the performance from Saracens, which has been excellent, but there's no doubt in my mind that those two big European clashes against Montpellier just have taken a huge amount out of Leicester, and they've, you know, clearly kept their European chances alive by winning them. But
so there's Owen Farrell, happily restored to the upright position. And that is very heartening to see after a sickening blow. Even a little suggestion of a smile.
Just chatting away to his half-back partner, Richard Wigglesworth there, saying, "What's the score? Are we really winning by that many?"
Am I seeing it straight? Nice to see him chatting with supporters. It's become such a key cog in their wheel and England's wheel in a very short space of time. A real warrior. Sarries facing away matches with Worcester and Gloucester over the next couple of weeks, so you would suspect in this kind of form that by the end of the festive period, their grip on the top of the Premiership will be all but vice-like. Leicester have Sale and Bath both at home at Welford Road. Very much the tougher of the two fixtures.
Just looking at our man of the match now, I mean, it's been some outstanding performances. Vunipola once again been strong. Certainly Steve Borthwaite's led this team. Jack Wilson been very impressive on the wing, but undoubtedly for 52 minutes the half-backs in this weather have really driven and taken Saracens, you know, clear of Leicester. And for me, there he is, Richard Wigglesworth, who was excellent today, really dictated the tempo and pace of the game. He's our Aviva Premiership man of the match.
More pain coming Leicester's way. Jamie George inside from De Kock, and it's another one for Ashton. What a way to finish. Maybe they aren't done yet. Chris Ashton has 2, Saracens have 6, Leicester humbled.
Well, this will be very, very painful indeed for Leicester, for their players and the coaching staff, but you just cannot take anything away from this Saracens performance. Really being able to pass out the tackle there, just the power running, the intensity of the way that they played. Just as we see Jamie George just breaking free, just being able to stay up in the tackle for a split second. De Kock again instrumental, and just outside and then back inside, and that try poacher Ashton, no swan dive, just two-handed put down, and another try for Saracens.
Great play all round by Sarries. Have to be one of the best sides at attacking around the fringes, around the breakdown. They really read defence as well. George, lovely little pass, wasn't it, to De Kock, like you said, Lawrence. That's a poacher's try.
What a curve! An absolute peach from Charlie Hodgson. Drags them to within 1 point of the big 5-0.
Just been so impressed with the, look at this as we see that kick again, that started way outside the right hand upright, and even is pleasantly surprised by the final result, but just so impressed. I think all of us, and I'm sure you are at home, by the intensity that Saracens have shown today. Their work at the breakdown has been fantastic, their game management has been superb, and whenever they've got that opportunity, look at them now, just the kick pressure, look at that, it's just the intensity they're showing. They just look like a team that have had a couple of weeks where they've been able to recharge the batteries, and Leicester probably conversely just look like a team that have really had the legs taken away from them by those 2 epic tussles against Montpellier.
And how significant do you think a defeat like this will be come the end of the match? We'll perhaps discuss that in a moment or two. Martin Bayfield here with Richard Wigglesworth.
I am indeed. A lot of smiles here on the Saracens bench. Richard Wigglesworth, in your wildest dreams I wouldn't have thought you could have dominated a game like this against the Tigers.
Definitely not, no. We saw the conditions and we're obviously expecting a tight, tough battle, but I don't think I've ever played in the team and played the conditions quite this well, so we're delighted.
Well, one of the key factors is the way that you controlled the game at scrum half. Huge responsibility on you for that. You seem to relish it today.
I did, yeah. I was quite keen to get to today. I've been ready for it all week, but I was quite fortunate that we actually lost the toss. We got to play with the wind first, so Neil De Kock wasn't too happy with me, but he's played brilliantly in the last half an hour. So we're delighted with the win, and half-backs controlled it, but it's all on the back of a massive forward effort.
Well, I'll tell you what you need on a night like tonight when it's cold and wet. You need a nice chilled bottle of champagne. That'll go nicely. Well done. You're the Aviva Premiership man of the match.
Thank you very much. Christmas do tonight, so make good use of it.
Good man. Well done.
2 knock-ons, fellas. Relax.
Right.
2 knock-ons.
Well, everybody in the nearby area probably needs to be made aware of that.
It's Paul Gustard's wedding first. He's getting married at 6 o'clock, his vows, I think. So I think
the perfect launch pad.
Absolutely. Well, he's obviously getting married just before Christmas. It's cheap, isn't it? A lot cheaper just before Christmas.
We'll go down the aisle with a big smile on his face with the way his team have played today. He's certainly defended magnificently.
Particularly kick chase, Lawrence. When they kick you and they push you back, there's almost nowhere to go for Matthew Tate. It's a monumental defensive performance and physical.
Tigers pack heading in reverse still.
I mean, all I can tell you is, having been on the back of a few defeats myself like this, you've just got to bottle this feeling up as a Leicester Tigers player. You've got to bottle this feeling up because they will be hurting so much. When that final whistle eventually does go, you just got to remember this feeling, because they will come up against Saracens, you know, on a number of other occasions throughout the season, and it's a question of how they respond to this defeat.
Well, they're top dogs for a reason right now, Saracens. They have hit Leicester for 6. This has been a comprehensive battering of the Tigers. This their heaviest ever Premiership defeat. Full time, Saracens 49, Leicester Tigers 10. Fabulous performance in filthy weather conditions. The tries coming from Wilson, 2 from Ashton, Billy Bunapola, Jackson Ray, and the penalty try. Job done